Today we're sitting down with Mish, an English teacher who works with adult learners at Galileo. Beyond the classroom, she's constantly growing. She's stepping into leadership, exploring how innovation and AI can make learning more personal and meaningful. And she's rebuilding with incredible strength after experiencing a house fire. Help me in welcoming Michelin to the episode. Welcome, Michelin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yes, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's the first time ever that I'm nervous for an interview.
Wonderful. Sounds mutual.
But I just want you to know that this is more of a conversation, okay? And I'm so inspired by you. I know you might not know this, I swear. There's something about either it's the way that you carry yourself in the photocopy room. It's the way that I see you doing projects with students. I'm honestly inspired. So I'm super grateful that you said yes to being on the show, honestly. But for listeners who don't know you yet, can you tell me a bit about yourself? How would you introduce yourself?
As an educator,
Okay.
and I think that's it in many domains.
Yeah.
But just as an educator, no matter which space you find yourself in, you're holding space. So you're sharing what you know, you're sharing like your experiences. And I think that's the key.
Were you always an educator?
No, I was a horrible student, actually.
So was I.
Great.
My students are like talking and I'm like, guys, quiet, quiet. And then I think back and I'm like, I was that student. I was the one always talking, always causing trouble. But I loved my teachers. And so I always try to put myself in their position and be like, why are they talking? Are they just having a good time? Do they just enjoy each other's company and they're making time, pass quicker? But yeah, I was that student as well.
Yeah, I think there's a hierarchy that maybe we imagine, and it's meeting the students, like seeing ourselves in our students.
Yeah.
And if they're chatting, or if they're agitated or antsy, or they're just having a really bad day and they don't feel like being social, we need to honor that. And I think that's what makes us great educators, actually, is because maybe we weren't that great at like students. So yeah, we're just like, okay, they're having a not so good day, and it's okay.
So what got you into teaching?
Someone close to me said, you know what, you'd make a great teacher. I said, trying to get out of school, not into school. And it happened organically, and I fell in love with it. And I haven't looked back since then. And I keep growing.
What is something that has been energizing you lately?
My students always energize me. The questions they ask, and they always challenge me in a way that's healthy. And I'll say like, "Oh, I don't know that," or I haven't found the resources I'm looking for online. And so many times I have to create them. And I love creating resources, actually.
That's something that I don't dread creating them because I love putting my own spin into what I want to give my students, but at the same time, it's time consuming.
There's something called AI. But you don't let AI do it all for you, because then it's just a disaster. But it might sort of organize your ideas. Like I'll put it down on paper, or I'll do it on the whiteboard. And there's all this information, like mind mapping and all that. And then I'll take a picture of it, and AI will sort of say, oh, these are connections here, and there's all this stuff, and you can organize it like this. And I love using Canva, but it can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
I think the more options you have, sometimes the more I get decision fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that's what it's called. Because I'd been spending so much time working on a document, and then suddenly I'm like, I have to close it. I will literally close something and I'd be like, I'll start again tomorrow because there's too much. It's overwhelming. But I love how you mentioned using AI. And I feel like for us anyway, because we don't have teaching assistants, that's our TA. that university professors or college professors would have. So I think it's great that we have those tools available to us. Do you feel like you know how to utilize them?
Now, yes.
Okay.
And I say that confidently because I spend so much time on, like, not, you don't spend time on AI, obviously, you're on a computer. But I was using Copilot, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and then in Canva you have its own AI, and now almost anything has its own AI, and then you start to see patterns that either work for you or against you. And you can't just use one. You can't just use ChatGPT for everything. That's just you're not doing it correctly then.
Do you feel like there's a gap in the education, in the field of education when it comes to teachers using AI and those that don't know how to use them?
That's a great question.
I think there is. Would you agree?
I'd have to reflect on that. I don't know if I could speak for all teachers.
Okay.
I don't know would be my answer.
Okay.
Because I think that we don't have enough time, or we haven't been given opportunities to talk to other teachers about that. Usually when we're in these environments, they were directed either to produce or we're taking in information, and we are guided as to what kind of information they want. But what I'd love is for teachers just to have like a meet and greet and just exactly what you're doing is talking to other educators and saying, hey, what gaps do you find in AI when you're using it for your classroom?
I think maybe what I was getting at was gaps with teachers, like the ones that are able to use AI, the ones that feel comfortable, the ones that know about AI. Because I personally, I only started recently using AI due to, it was thanks to a colleague who actually, so Alec is the one who introduced me to some of the tools out there. And at first I was doing everything myself and I was on the brink of burning out. And I said to myself, like, I need to either calm down, stop overexerting myself, stop burning myself out, stop, burning myself out, basically. And that's when Alec came in and said, hey, I've used these tools. Look how I use this tool. Look how I use that tool. And I was just like, it was a aha moment for me. And it completely switched my life around. And I was able to, first, I was introduced to these tools, and then I was able to dabble with them myself, learn about them myself. So that's what I mean by the gap. I feel like there is a gap amongst teachers who, one, they're just not introduced to it, or two, they don't know about it. Three, they don't have the time to learn the tools. So it's always a learning curve, but I think it's important. I think it's great that you implement them into your everyday teaching, which leads me to my next question. How do you use it?
Okay. So I also have to tell you that I have a background in programming. Since I was 13, I would be programming while other kids would be playing outside. So perhaps I'm a little obsessed. So how do I use it? I'll tell you how I used it last night. So I was teaching a grammar topic, and I had a student who was having a hard time, and he's an highly intelligent student. He was having a hard time wrapping his head around it. He just wasn't getting. And he kept saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, oh my gosh, don't be sorry. So, as an educator, you try and like change the information. You say, oh, maybe if I explain it like this, or if I explain it like that. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to write it all out. And I'm going to compare it to something that you do understand. So I started writing it all out. And another student said, do you have this on paper? I said, no, I have it in my brain. And so they were copying it. What I did was I took a picture of it and I put it through Claude, which I have a love-hate relationship with that tool. And it created the most amazing PDF. And then I said, hey, can you turn this into words so I can edit it? And it did. And then I shared it on WhatsApp the same night. And the students were like, wow, how did this just happen so quickly? I'm like, it didn't happen because of me. It happened because of you. Like, I'm kind of the tool and the intermediary
Yeah.
and made it happen. So I think teachers maybe have to be aware that you don't have to do it alone. And we've been doing it alone for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
We've been creating resources or finding things online or going to the resource room, and we're trying to find things like real life situations and, and then AI comes about and a lot of people are resistant to it. So we also have to acknowledge that there's a lot of resistance, and it's not going to replace teachers. I don't think it ever will.
Okay, so you've mentioned before to me that you wish teachers would, not that you wish teachers would collaborate more, but that you would hope for a more collaborative environment amongst teachers. So, what would that look like in an ideal situation for you?
I don't know. I don't know what it would look like, because usually it takes place in a pedagogical environment where there are pet days, and it's like we could produce things or we can talk to other teachers. But outside of that, I don't know. And I want it to happen. I've wanted it for so long that now I just create it myself. And now it's sad, but AI has become like my brainstorm buddy.
It's your collaborator.
I know, right? But I want humans. I want the spark. I want the enthusiasm. I want teachers to say, you know what, this worked, this didn't work, but the idea is great. So how can we tweak it?
What about maybe starting, whether it's structured meetings or because I feel like you want that structured environment, right?
We have to start with conversations. We can't go straight into collaboration. You have to have that conversation. You have to feel confident and trust the person you're working with so you can produce something amazing and be proud of it. I have stuff that I have produced with some teachers here at Galileo that I still use today, and they know who they are. And I love the work we've produced, and that's probably why I want to collaborate again. But people don't have time, or they're like, what are we producing exactly? So I spoke to a few people, and they said it has to be grassroots. It has to come, from the bottom up, and you have to. But that again takes a lot of effort and time. I don't know how to do it.
For sure, getting everyone or getting the teachers that want to collaborate together at a fixed time or a date might be more challenging, but are you up to the challenge?
Yes, I'm always up to the challenge.
Okay, I challenge you. Let's to create a space where teachers can collaborate. And it doesn't have to be structured, but just it has to just be meaningful.
Correct that.
Challenge accepted? Absolutely. Okay, great. I want to know, Mish, was there a moment in your life when education became more than just a job for you?
Yeah, I never, I'm going to tell you a secret. I told my principal, I would do this for free. And she said, don't ever tell anyone that. It's never been a job.
And I'm sure your students feel it. When a teacher comes in and you're just, you're exhausted, you're probably tired, but you're ready to tackle the class like it's the first thing you do that day. So
You show up.
exactly. So you're teaching, what exactly, what levels are you teaching right now? Is it, you're on academic teaching?
No, we're not, but it does overlap. There is a bit of like the academic codes because we work those codes. So I teach like the higher level of, but I teach any level.
Okay.
It's like English as a foreign language.
Okay. And you've said you've cared deeply about helping people find their voice, not just to learn grammar.
Absolutely.
What does that look like in practice?
I've heard a lot of stories, and
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Yeah.
a lot of stories. of the hardships they've experienced and the things they've gone through and the things they've seen, that you have to hold space for the human aspect of teaching.
Is there a moment, let's say at Galileo, that made you think to yourself, I'm happy to be here. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Yes, and every day that I walk through the halls, every day that I'm in my classroom, and it always changes. It's always a different classroom, and it's like, oh, I have to carry all my stuff now up and down and bring it here. But it's home. It's become my second home. Maybe my first. I don't know. Don't tell anyone.